start out that bone broth again.
Nice.
I got 3 batches of it.
Oh wow.
I like to, I don't know. I like bone broth.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
Yeah.
But I also like using, head to toe and whatever the fuck with animals and shit. So when I do all like the chicken cooking and stuff like that, I really like to be able to use the whole goddamn thing, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's better than waste the whole animal. Like, animal died.
Exactly.
You might as well appreciate all of it.
Well, that's what I was talking about before was the idea of me wanting to eat less chicken.
Yeah.
So I could take less lives.
Yeah.
So the idea of like if I actually went hunting, say for elk or something like that, that one life could very well feed myself for like a year. I don't know.
One elk you think could feed you for a year?
No, maybe not. But like
one elk.
a big, but like I'm talking like an actual like big elk, right? Like not like just like a small little deer, like a big elk.
Yeah.
I could see a big elk.
Full size elk.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Maybe not a full year.
I don't know about a year. I mean, unless you're like eating very small portions, like super duper small portions.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I've never tried to eat a whole elk, so I don't know how long it would last. I mean, you could use the bones to make tools and jewelry.
Yeah.
And the antlers, weapons.
Fully purposing.
Yeah. So well, yeah, because that's what Native Americans do. If they kill an animal, they use everything.
Yeah, man.
As you should. Like you don't just discard the rest of it. Like it's a life.
Exactly.
And you're using your power to take it away. So like.
Show gratitude for it and use the whole thing. And that's why with like the bone broth that I make downstairs, I do 1 round in a pressure cooker with the bones. And then after it's done, I go for a 2nd round after I've crushed all the bones. So all the marrow and everything comes out of them. Just get like everything possible from it, right?
Well, the marrow's good for you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Love me some bone marrow.
My mom put me in swimming when I was like very, very little.
Okay.
So I swam a lot and she put me in soccer and baseball. So I did a lot of that. I guess a lot of my time outside of school.
Okay.
At home was sports. And,
yeah.
But she put me in piano when I was 10, because I always wanted to play guitar when I was really little.
Okay.
Like even before that, like she'd let me take the pots and pans out in the kitchen and like just play them. And which is really cool because like, what parent wants to hear like some racket like that, right? So she noticed that I was interested in making sounds. So she let me do that, and then I had Legos, so I love to build things. So most of my time was inside, and I mean, like, I had some friends. I guess I'd have to figure out what part of my life when, but I mean, like, I had friends that as I got older, we'd like to hang out and play road hockey and go on adventures and just hang out outside.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd say piano for a bit.
Yeah.
Singing and. When I was 12, I started playing guitar. I know I'm getting off.
No, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it with the music. Let's keep it with the upbringing. So you had your mom getting you lessons. Were you introducing music in the household at a young age?
Oh yeah,
was there a lot of music around?
My dad played guitar and he sang, so
okay.
He would entertain my mom like when she was pregnant with me. So she'd be cooking in the kitchen, and I'd be in her womb and she'd just be playing for both. He'd be playing for both of us essentially. So I mean, like, beautiful. Music was always there, and he'd sing and play for us and. He's a very musical guy.
Okay.
And he passed away when I was 3.
Okay.
So his guitar was always there. He had a couple. He had a nice Yamaha, and then he had a 12-string Taylor. I guess it's because of school. Like I started music officially because it was part of our curriculum. They had like vocal class every day.
Okay.
And then she figured it'd be good to put me in piano because it's good for your brain, help develop both hemispheres, and gives you a sense of discipline because you have something to work towards, and it allows you to express yourself in other ways, right? And I think it's important for kids to learn how to express themselves in many ways because when you're growing up, you have a lot of feelings inside of you that you don't understand. So
absolutely,
and you can't. I don't know. You can't really. It's not hard. I mean, it's hard to talk through those feelings if you don't have the resources, and if your parents aren't like super intellectual psychologists or I don't know anything like that, to be able to like. Help your child understand what they're going through and I guess organize time for them to be able to reflect. It's like things like that. Like if you don't learn, like you don't learn those things.
A little bit of a push in that direction can sometimes give a little bit of aid. So for you being pushed in the direction of music, you really took to that.
Oh yeah.
All right.
But I didn't want to play piano. But
okay.
She's like, let's start with piano because piano, you do piano first. And I was like, but I want to play guitar. It's like, no, you do piano first. So, so I played for a year and I didn't stick with it. And I stopped. And then when I was 12, I started teaching myself because my dad's guitar was there, and I was like, well, if I want to play, I'm going to play, so I'm going to figure it out. So I would look online and find tabs. The songs that I learned, that I liked, and I would learn them, and we had a family friend that played guitar, and he'd come over sometimes, and I'd ask him questions. And I had another family friend of mine named Michael, and he was like a fucking piano prodigy, and he didn't want to play. He was just like, it was part of his family made him do it too, right? So, but he was incredible. And he had friends that would come over, and they would all like, it was like their parents would boast with their kids, like, look what my kids can do, and like these kids are just phenomenal piano players, and I was like, wow, I was just blown away. But it was like, it wasn't interesting for me. It's like, that's not what I want to do. So I kept.
So you got onto the guitar,
yeah. I was 12.
Self-taught, 12 years old. From there, did you stick with the guitar? All right.
Yeah. I took music in school, like after, because grade 6 I moved to Brampton, so we stopped with the vocal classes. And it was high school. They had music programs. I didn't really know what I wanted to do in high school, so I took business because so I did that, and I was really good at it. And my teacher's like, why don't you be an accountant? And I was like, well, that's boring. He's like, but you're really good at it, and like organizing numbers and understanding the patterns of things. And so like, I don't want to do that. So,
fair enough.
It was just like just the fact of visualizing myself sitting at a desk all day, like staring at these papers with no interest, and like just because you're good at something doesn't mean you want to spend all your time doing it.
Absolutely. So we'll get back to music in a second, but let's sidetrack over here to school. So finding yourself in school, being told to go down this road of becoming an accountant and such. Did you wind up after high school going to any post-secondary and investing more time and money into it, or
no?
From there, once you had your control, did you make your way back to music?
That was like very brief. It was just one teacher. He was just like giving me a suggestion, right? Because he noticed that I was doing well. But, like, I took business because I did well the first year, and then I took it again because I did well the second year. It's like, okay, well, like usually you utilize the time that you've already spent in something, so you're going to continue to do it. Or maybe you don't find something that you're interested in, so you keep trying different things. But so it seemed like, okay, well, that's the way to go. And my dad owned his own roofing company. So like I had that influence of like, I've always wanted to own my own business, work for myself as well, and just kind of essentially decide what I want to do, like my hours, like how I want to go about organizing a business. So that was a kind of underlying factor as well. It's like, okay, I'll continue to take this because it'd be helpful in the long run.
Smart,
But then all my friends were going to college, university in grade 12. Or after they left grade 12, sorry. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was still short some credits, so I came back for another year, but in that year they introduced the gifted music program. So they had like a introduction to audio engineering, and they had like co-op placements that you could do. So I wanted to go to work in a studio. But all the studios, because I was in Brampton at the time, all the studios were in Toronto. And the studio engineers would want you to be in really early, like at 9 o'clock. And to get down here. To get to Toronto from Brampton at 9 o'clock was a little bit tricky. So they said, okay, well, we could fill, like the ones that I went to said that we could fill somebody else's, we could fill the position with somebody else who already lives in Toronto, so it'd be easier for us and we don't have to, so it was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? So I'm like, okay, so I did event planning at the community center down the street from my school. So like make flyers, like organize all the information for the events, like make sure you have whatever you need for the event. If there's food, like entertainment, whatever, like you make sure that it's all organized so that the person executing the project has what they need before they could, before it all goes out. So I was doing that, so because I was good at organizing things, so I did that, and then I had introduction to audio engineering. So we learned GarageBand and Logic, which was a lot of fun because I also started smoking weed when I was 18.
All right, so hand in hand, some music programs, a little bit of the douche smoking. All right.
Well, because I'd go to class and I'd be super stoned. And I didn't want anybody to know I was stoned, so I would just put my headphones on and just work on songs. And I would just like sit there until the end of the class, and I'd come up with things, and it was so much fun, and it would just really open my mind to like all the possibilities that I could do with myself, and that also helped me. When I started smoking weed, that helped me look at the world differently in my actions. So, like sure. I had a lot of anger when I grew up. A lot of anxiety.
Okay.
Like I lived with my mom and my brother and my grandmother. And my mom's Italian, and so my mom and my grandmother be yelling at each other all the time. They would not get along.
I grew up in a similar house, so go on.
Yeah, so I have a lot of anxiety now.
Okay,
because I live in a lot of high stress environment for a long period of my life.
And we both have the similar reaction to that, is to laugh it off. You know what I mean? Let's bring it back to the household growing up. My mother Italian. I moved into a household with my great grandmother, so that dynamic there, I totally understand. How was it for you growing up in that dynamic?
Very stressful. I was really quiet because I didn't want to interfere with anybody's situations. So I would just, I wouldn't say anything. Like, they're yelling at each other, so I would kind of just go and escape somewhere.
Okay.
I didn't have to be in that environment, but you can only escape so far in the house.
Fair enough.
There was little times I also, like, that really strained my mom because like she had a lot to deal with. Like, she had to raise my brother and myself and work and deal with my grandmother, and like my grandmother's old school. And like she's very stubborn, testa dura in Italian, So it's like there's no communication. It's just yelling because like one person won't listen and the other person's trying to get something across.
Okay.
And it's just like talking to a brick wall. So like it's just constant yelling. But like because my mom is so stressed and like she didn't really have an outlet to to alleviate that stress. So I guess like I also would pick on my brother because that's what you do. But I mean, like, it's not something that's you should do, but people do it. Like, you're a kid.
It happens.
Yeah. So he was a little instigator. He was a shit disturber. But it's no excuse for my actions. I mean, but I would pick on him. So I did find like it was a strained relationship in the house. Like a lot of. Have
you found that you've inherited any of those classic Italian traits that you look at yourself nowadays, and think, whoa, okay, that got a little bit of that in me as well. Does anything come to mind when you think of that?
Yeah, I got fire. I got fire and passion.
Okay.
I don't take shit.
Okay.
I'm still quiet, but like, I mean, like, I'd say that, like, I'm a passionate person, so, like, Italian people are very passionate. And, like, even my mom would say, I'm not yelling, when I'm yelling. And it's like, okay, so, yeah, I understand, like, there's the fire there. So I'd say that's what I could say I get from from the Italian side.
So with that fire, with that passion, we're talking music.
Yeah.
You fire your passion.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah, because, well, going back to, like the weed, because weed really isolated me from school because I didn't want to be there. I still didn't want to be there. Like, growing up, I didn't want to be there. Like, I couldn't sit still. I was always like daydreaming or like looking out the window. Like, I didn't want to be there. I was like, there's something else I want to be doing with my time. Like,
I got you. Yeah.
I'm not paying attention. Like, there's no interest. Like, my teachers always complain to my mom that like I'm not paying attention. Like, he's not there.
Yeah.
And it's because I didn't want to be there. Like, I always wanted to be active. I wanted to do stuff. I had so much energy. And so when I started smoking weed, I had like a vocal class in the morning. I had guitar, and then I had the music and computers or audio engineering, and then I had my co-op. So I would usually stay home. My mom would go to work. I'd stay home and like I go smoke weed. So I had a little spot by the river down the street from me.
Yeah.
And I would go there, and then come home and I would play guitar, and I'd miss first period, and then I'd go to school because I can't miss the whole day all the time. So I'd go to school. And then I would go to the rest of my classes and then go to my co-op placement. But it was like, even the guitar class I took, like, they wanted you to learn classical. That's what you start with.
Okay.
And I was like, I have no interest right now. I want to learn blues
and
like
finger
rock
picking and all that stuff. Yeah, I know. I gotcha.
I don't want to do that. So it's just like I would just stay home and spend the time that I would be at school learning what I wanted to learn.
Your own.
Yeah. And like I could do it. So so I would do that. And then they opened up a jam club, they called it.
Okay.
So essentially, like, they would have all these people sign up and they would list what instrument they would play. And the teacher, his name is Mr. Lamorte.
Yeah.
In Italian means Mr. Death. he was the coolest teacher ever.
All right.
I actually saw him when I was out of high school. Like, I was 19. We were at a bar with my friends playing pool.
Yeah.
And he was there with his band.
Okay.
And it was like the coolest thing to see. Like, one of my favorite teachers of all my life. Like, very inspirational man in my music career, I'd say, because like he really pushed me. He had an amazing ear. He had like a wide style of music or musical playing, and he had like a wide taste of of music as well. Like in that jam club, because I had already started a band in high school, instead of just signing up and they would make you a band. So based on all these people, right?
That's actually really awesome. I've never heard of that. Never seen something like that when I was in school. Yeah. And the idea of doing that takes out a lot of that social aspect of starting a band that a lot of musicians don't really want to have to deal with. So kind of getting people together just automatically and seeing if it works, how to work for you.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Because I already had the band, right? Yeah. So we just auditioned. We played Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine. Yeah. So like I went to Long McQuaid and I bought my first guitar pedal, like a whammy pedal. Yeah. Wah pedal. Okay. Not a whammy pedal. A wah pedal. And I still have that wah pedal today. So it's lasted all these years, but anyways, so I could play that song because there's he really liked us. So then we were part of the program, and then essentially there would be like blocks after school where you would sign up time, and you would get together and he'd be there. Like he was so devoted and dedicated. He'd spend his extra time after school to stay to make sure like all these kids had the time and the space because we go in the music room to use and. So we could develop what we wanted to do, and it was incredible. Like not a lot of people would do that. They would give up their time so somebody else could develop themselves and enjoy themselves. So we'd do that, and he'd like suggest songs for us. Like we did a Priestess song, Lay Down. I never heard of Priestess at the time, and like so he introduced me to like some cool stuff, and like we did One by Metallica. And then we did like Stricken by Disturbed. So like a nice balance. I did like Enter Sandman by Metallica. Sorry, I said One by Metallica, not One by Metallica. U2.
Okay, One by U2.
One by Metallica is totally different than One by U2. One by U2. Enter Sandman by Metallica. Totally different. So we had a nice little thing, and then we'd pick some songs we wanted. We actually started writing a song too. It was really simple, but we started writing our own song as well. So they had a showcase at the end of the year to show off everything that everybody's been working on. So we got to play a set, and that was like my first performance, like actually with the band. Like we did like choir things and whatever in elementary school, but it was really cool. Weird jobs that musicians do.
Yes, please do tell me more.
We'll start with that one because I've got a weirder one. That one too bad.
Okay, so that one, in case that was cut off, that was working.
So working at the Brick as a subcontractor, delivering furniture.
All right, from there.
So that was cool because like my mom's like, well, if you don't want to go to school, you got to work. Yeah. So I was like, fine, like I'll work because I don't want to be here. It's a waste of my time.
All right.
So I would get up really early, go to the warehouse down like at Courtney Park. Yeah. And just like we're in Brampton, turns of Mississauga, and we'd get there, and then we'd get our logs like of where our deliveries are going, and you'd have to call the customers and let them know you're coming between this time. Do the map. So it's cool because I get to utilize my organizing skills, right? So, okay, where's this in relation to this and this, and you try to like map it out so you don't fuck yourself at the end of the day. You want to go all the way everywhere. You want to have it concise and smooth so you can do good like a logical route.
So you were able to use your skills for that.
Organizing skin and skills are.
But what's a job that you look back at and go, that was fucked?
I worked at Maple Lodge Farms.
Okay. Maple Lodge Farms
on the eviscerating line.
Oh yeah.
One summer.
Okay.
So I was like trying to find work in different things, and like this is in the fucking middle. It was a Winston Churchill somewhere in the middle of Mississauga. Okay. And like so, you go in and this big factory, and it stinks like
death.
Yeah. And my job essentially was to go on the eviscerating line, and the chickens would come down the line. Yeah. And you have to quality inspect them, right? But you have to cut off. So sometimes their feet don't get cut off, or their heads, or sometimes their feathers are still on. Yeah. So you have to take that off, cut the rest of the head off, cut the feet off, put it back on the hook, and it goes around. That was my job. And for the first 3 days, I didn't eat anything. When I came home, and it stunk. And it was just the most depressing, like, I don't know, like, really, what am I doing here? What kind of job? I was like, this is all I could do right now. This is all I got. So I did it.
Well, I respect that you fucking did it. How long did you stick it out for?
Yeah, the whole summer.
Holy shit.
That was like, I listened to Marilyn Manson the whole summer. I was like, this is very appropriate. for what I'm doing. I don't know. It was just like sometimes you have phases where you just listen to this album for like 3 days.
Yeah.
Or, I'm only listening to this artist for like a week or whatever. But like it was just like a huge Marilyn Manson phase while I was working at Maple Lodge Farms cutting off the heads of chickens.
Oh wow.
And one time, they liked me, so they let me like do a little bit of floor managing. So you would like not like for the whole shift, but like sections. So like say they needed somebody to floor manage for a little bit. So I would do that. You walk around, make sure everything's good, and then that's it.
All right.
So one time I was walking, and I was past the grate, and I see this thing in my peripheral like move. I'm, in the grate? I'm like, what? So I look in the grate and look closer, and it's a chicken, and it's still alive.
Oh no!
It has no feathers.
Oh no!
So I had to catch the chicken, and bring it back to the line, and the man with no empathy whatsoever. Just takes this chicken, sticks it back on, like this man's dead inside. He like puts it back on, and it goes down, and that's it. So it's like the chicken tried to escape, and I fortunately prevented its escape. It was not a fun time in my life.
Okay.
Or the lives of those chickens. But
I gotta ask, when you were doing quality control, like did you have any experiences like that on your own, where when you had to cut off a leg or thing when they were still alive?
Oh no, they won't do that.
Okay.
They usually this is what they do. They take the chickens, come in live, and they hook them, like not like a hook through their skin, but like they have these hooks that their feet fit on, and they put them upside down, and the chickens are moving, and then they electrocute them so they pass out, and then they slit their throat so they bleed out, and then they put them through a thing where it scorches all their feathers off, and then a machine comes and cuts their feet and head off. So that's why, because sometimes the chickens are different sizes, right? So that's why you have somebody on the line making sure like the machine didn't miss anything. So you have to do it, because if it's a smaller chicken or a bigger chicken and it's only set for certain parameters. So that was that, and then I was like, I'm fucking done. I can't do this anymore.
So a summer of that, you said for the first few days you couldn't eat.
Yeah, I couldn't eat anything.
Did it have any long-lasting effects on you in regards to like, did you go vegan?
No.
No, okay.
I mean, you think it would, right?
No, not necessarily. That's why I'm asking. It's like I'm not sure.
No. I mean, I just really looked at like how.
Any vegan watching this has had a wonderful time.
I just really look at like how we treat our livestock. Now, and you like think of the way things are going now, and that could be us. Essentially, right? Like
almost
going to be
definitely
those chickens or those cows or those pigs on those trucks. Actually, because I live in the stockyards, and there's all those factories down there. And like I've seen them a couple times where the trucks drive and you see the pigs like sticking their head out trying to like, where am I going?
Oh yeah.
And it's heartbreaking.
We see that a lot more downtown. I don't know if they do it as much downtown. I don't see it as much as they did before, but when I was a kid, it would be like a lot when we'd go to Ontario Place and stuff like that. I guess because you're by the highway or whatever, right? And you'd have just the squealing and the crying, and my mom, being the emotional person she is, she would just freak out and try to like avert us from it. But as I grew up with that, and with a mother who was vegan, I didn't go down that road either of becoming vegan. But a situation like that reminds me, like we were just talking about this beforehand, while you were here. Eating as much chicken as I do, it's made me wonder
how much chicken do you eat? Eating as much chicken as I do. I don't know how much chicken you eat.
I go through like
a farm's worth of chicken in a couple days.
If I'm eating chicken for my like meals that day or whatever, if I'm doing like prep, I'm eating like at least a little over half a chicken. So
a day.
So if I'm eating like a little over half a chicken there, and I'm eating chicken, say like 4 out of 7 days, like I'll do a day vegan. I'll do a day of like pescatarian. I'll do red meat and stuff like that maybe like once in a while as like a treat. I don't have this part of my routine, but I eat mostly chicken, fish, eggs, stuff like that, right? And I realized I eat a lot of chickens as I prep them. As you walked into the place today, I got a bone broth going on, and I like to use the whole fucking chicken.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. But it made me wonder, less legs killed. Do I try to eat like, turkeys, which are bigger? Do I make my way up a chain to something bigger so I'm taking less lives? And I think it brings back to what you were talking about before, which is the idea of just like, being grateful for anything, any life you're taking, any time. And working in that situation, we'll bring it back to you with that. Is it something... Go on.
No, sorry.
No, go on,
I was going to say, because we don't think about this, like, when we eat them, or when we're cooking them. Like, if you had a farm, and they were your chickens, and you took care of them, and you had to kill them because you're going to eat them. Like, at least if you took care of them, and you love them, that would make a big difference.
It would, but at the same time, it reminds me of there's like this home documentary thing on Gordon Ramsay, and with his kids, they raised, I think, like turkeys for Thanksgiving, or they raised chickens. I don't know, but they named them all, and this and that. And like, you know, one of the ones, I'm not sure how old she was, 4, or like one of the younger ones, right? Looking out the window, it's like, you know, it says one of their names, whatever it was. She's going to be delicious.
Oh my god!
I loved it. Yeah. I loved it. But yeah, that idea of working that scenario is something I've always been interested in. So you bringing that up right now, I'm absolutely like, you know, respect for doing it.
You'd be interested in working in that scenario?
No, my thing more so is the idea of being taking a life.
Oh.
For the right to eat that life. Like, I don't think like if you can't kill a chicken yourself, then maybe you shouldn't be eating chicken. Yeah. You know what I mean? And people will argue, it's like, well, no, they're just not a hunter, you know, this and that. But I feel as though maybe that'll be the turning point for where you go vegan. Maybe I'll go vegan at that moment. Maybe I don't know, you know? And it's something I've always been interested in, which is the idea of, you know, hunting is something I'm interested in, but more so being able to go to a farm, being able to realize that you have to take a life to eat the life and to just show absolute gratitude for something, right? It's like that whole... just that whole scenario of being grateful for what you're eating, whether it be meat or, you know, a screaming broccoli head as you rip it from the ground. All right, let's bring it back to you, brother. Let's go back to jobs. We talked about your worst job. Let's touch on favorite job in the industry.
Yeah, I think that was my worst job.
All right.
I don't think I've had a job worse. Yeah, no, actually, no.
Yeah, well, I was going to say...
How do you top that?
If you do have a job worse than that, I'm definitely all ears.
Well, I've worked a lot of different jobs, but I don't think I've had anything worse.
Well, let's have fun. Yeah. What's been the most fun job that you've had?
Well, I mean, you can't count it as a job, but I mean, it's still jobs you get paid for. Like, get paid for gigs. Like, that's... Okay. Because it's a career, right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like, if you want to talk job's not really a career. Like, a fun job...
Well, here, a job, so not part of being a musician, you know, a job that you wouldn't choose over being a musician. But what's the most fun you've had doing something like that?
Brick was fun because you got to exercise and get paid. And, like, they paid pretty well. Like, I made a lot of money when I was doing that. And like,
how about this?
I'm trying to think.
How about this?
Fun.
What was your favorite job and why was it working at Butler?
Is this in case the butlers see this? Because I don't think a lot of butlers would say that the butler wasn't their favorite job.
You know what?
I can't say I didn't like the butler because like the butler gave you like it was really chill. Yeah. Like, sometimes you had really like anal retarded. I'm not gonna say like clients or.
I completely agree.
Not retentive. Retarded. Like, not anal retentive, anal retarded. I chose that with purpose because, like, there's a difference between anal retentive and anal retarded. Anal retarded is, like, you're being so precise that there's no logic behind it. Like, you are just so close to what, other people are suggesting that could suggest something better. Yeah. Anal retentive is like, you know what's going on, you got every detail under control, and you're prepared. Yeah. And, like, then that's cool. I can appreciate that because I'm a little anal retentive, too.
I greatly appreciate you going forward and explaining this. Please go on.
Yeah, no, that's all. That's just too simple.
I love you. That you took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, so I mean, but there's a lot of fun. Like when we did the Rogers Cup. Yeah, that was incredible. Like it's
and the FNL doing TIFF over there. Having for that, we've had some fun together, especially I think. And overall, my experience there, like I said before, has been it was fun, definitely. But when you think of like overall, just like wild, crazy experiences at Butler, is there a specific event or a specific time that you remember that really sticks out for you?
Well, I remember we did the wedding. I think it was in Milton or something. Okay. It was like this $1 million property. Okay. And we get there really early and to set everything up. And like there's like a tennis court and like a pool and a pond and like a little house off the side and aside from their main house, and they got like a third house, and it's like what the fuck's going on? And when we were there all day setting up, I remember halfway through the afternoon the bridal party got there and the organizer came to us and they're like, oh, they want a bottle of tequila, and I was like, oh, but it's like 3 p.m. and like the wedding hasn't even started yet. We're gonna give him a whole bottle of tequila. So we gave him a whole bottle of tequila. All right. And like they're already pretty drunk by the time the wedding started. And like these people drank like they're running out of alcohol, and they had a lot of alcohol. There was like 6 bars. There was like 2 main bars. Okay. And then like really small bars. But I remember this one guy came. One of the groomsmen came behind the bar to make his own drink, and I grabbed him by the shirt and I kicked him out and I cut him off. Like I had to tell like somebody else from the wedding party. I'm like, this guy's done. Like, and I knew it was gonna be an issue from when we gave him the bottle of tequila in the afternoon. I'm like, they like people at weddings think that it's okay to be stupid drunk. And there's no repercussions to your actions. You know, there's this one guy coughed in his hand and then stuck his hands in my limes. And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, what? I'm not sick. I'm like, you just coughed and put all of that cough in the limes that I was going to use for everybody.
Yeah.
And now I can't use them.
Yeah.
So I hate
a good
that.
Guy.
I hate that. People still do that at my bar sometimes. I've slapped people's hands.
Good.
And I'm like, I don't care if you don't tip me. Like,
no.
I'm like, you can ask me, and we'll give you a lime. You don't stick your hands in the limes. And now, especially now, like with virus going around, like, you think that's an appropriate action? To stick your hands in some fruits? I don't think so. So I mean, like that. I don't know. I'm sure there's wilder times. I mean, it wasn't too wild. It was just like the first time I actually had to cut somebody off at a wedding. Yeah. But there have been other times where, you know, people have been cut off. I've seen like one lady at a fundraiser for Movember. Yeah. She was holding her drink. Oh, they didn't order any food until like 11 o'clock. So it was me and Jen working, like redhead Jen. Yes. Me and Jen were working the bar. And they had like very minimal activities. So it was just like the bar was open for a long time. And there was like nothing really to break up them from drinking. They had like a little raffle and stuff and like a mustache contest, like the best mustache. But aside from that, they didn't get food till late, and they got pizza, and that's it. Yeah. And it's like, you have to have food if you're gonna have the bar open the whole time. So a lot of people were hammered, and like the organizer had a drink. I was watching her. She had a drink. She was standing against the wall, trying to hold herself up, and she's trying to move from where she was, and she went sideways. And caught herself, and she's had heels on. She like, I thought she was gonna face plant. She like caught herself, and then stumbled up around the stairs and came back. And when she came back to the bar, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't give you any more alcohol. You're gonna have to have some water and take some time. Yeah.
All right, let's you know what? Here, let's get to Toronto. We're here both from Toronto. Yeah. You know, you grew up.
You grew here.
I grew up here as well.
You grew here too?
I grew here.
Where did you grow?
This is where I grew, in Toronto. So, like, you know, let's touch on Toronto. It's a very polarizing city for those who visit. People love it or hate it. I grew up in it. I love it. There are aspects of it that I would, you know, like to change if I could, but I can't.
Like what?
You know what? I think in regards to Toronto, it's not so much the things I want to change in the city as it'd be maybe changing my time that I spend in the city. That I would appreciate the city as a whole for what it is more often if I wasn't here all the time. Yeah. I find like from traveling, coming back here, I got a whole new appreciation for my city because I like to travel for food and eat. So it's like, you know, going traveling somewhere and then coming back and be like, oh my God, we got a great version of that in Toronto. It's something I really appreciate. Mm-hmm. But what do you appreciate about Toronto? What do you love about your city?
Oh, I love the possibility for art. I mean, because there's so many places to pull out. I mean, now like the industry's changed, but I mean, before there was a lot of places to play. There's a lot of art galleries. Yeah. There's a lot of like different things to go see. I mean, I didn't see many dance performances. I did go to the Performing Arts Center. Or like when I was younger, we did go see a lot of cool things. Like I saw The Lion King when I was younger.
Yeah, Lion King was great. Yeah.
So love like, Lion King. There's a lot of art here. Yeah. And it was like, we saw David Copperfield before. That was awesome. Really cool. And like, yeah, so like my mom would take us to things like the Nutcracker every year.
Well, your mom sounds awesome so far.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, you're being brought out to things. Oh.
Uh-oh. Like she did a lot for us, like by herself. And like she always developed a sense of family. Like we would do things together. Like that. She would even take us to like the Blue Jays games and we sit in the nosebleed seats. And it wasn't even about like where we sat or where we were. It was just like that we were together. Yeah. So like having a lot of opportunities to do things, I say that Toronto's good for. Yeah. Because of that. Because like I experienced that when I was younger. There's places to go bike ride. Like there's all this different kind of cuisine. There's there are libraries if you wanna go do there's stuff to do. And right. It's not so hard to get around. It's pretty easy unless there's like delays or there's things. But like I mean that's with anything.
For sure. Now when it comes to being someone who loves their city Do you feel as though you want
You're saying
to?
I love my city? I don't know. I've never. I don't think I've publicly ever said I love my city. I don't dislove it. Like, love is a strong thing. Like, I'm very grateful for it. So I guess you could say I love it.
Okay, you know what?
But I mean, I'm very grateful that I have somewhere to be here, and I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I've experienced here and the people that I've met, and yeah. So, but I've never ever said I love it. I don't know. It's a hard thing. Not to say that I don't love it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna put you on the spot.
I haven't lived in enough places to be like, yeah, I love here. Because I lived in Montreal.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. And like, I loved Montreal. Because
Okay.
what I can say, what I loved about it.
Yeah.
I loved the architecture.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, because
More
it's more
European
European,
feel.
yeah.
Old
And I
Montreal.
felt like the people were very
Old Montreal's awesome.
yeah,
Village,
we're very friendly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there was the government's more supportive of arts. I don't know what's going on now because the government's kind of fucked. But I mean, like you could tell like it was more artistic city. Like,
yes,
even just like walking downtown, like I felt inspired. And I was there in the wintertime, and it was like worst. It's like a wind tunnel, but I mean, like, it was still incredible. Like, I went to live there because I was busking here.
Okay.
I didn't want to work. Like, because I don't. Who wants to work? People want to work. It's cool, but I didn't want to work. Like,
Fair.
I wanted to play music, so
Fair.
I figured out that okay, I could like make enough money to take care of myself because I didn't have a lot of expenses busking. So I would do that in Toronto. I would take my guitar and I'd play with some backing tracks, and then I'd find different spots.
Yeah.
And then winter was coming. And I was like, okay, well, I was still playing outside. It was like getting really cold, and I wear gloves and I'd warm up, but I'm like, this is not good for my guitar, and I can't keep doing this. So my brother lived in Montreal at the time, and so I went to go visit him. And before I left, I looked online to see like what their busking rules were in the subway. Because in the subway here, you need a permit, and there's a waiting list for auditions for permits.
Gotcha.
So it was a little harder to get. Like, I couldn't just get in the subway right then. I'd have to wait a little bit, or maybe a little bit longer, maybe by next winter. So it'd be, okay, what am I going to do now? And then I found out, they have designated spots. There's like a little leer by certain spots in each station where you can play.
No matter what, if you have a license or not.
Yeah, you don't need a license.
Awesome.
You need they're more sticklers for outside performances than here. Here I got away with a lot. I didn't have a permit.
Okay.
But there I didn't. So I went there and I stayed to see my brother for a couple days.
Yeah.
And then the second day I was busking, I met a guy named Pierre. And he came to talk to me, and he's like, "Oh, I really like your playing. Do you live here?" And I said, "No, I'm looking. Like, it just came out. I didn't even, like, the thought never crossed my mind. I'm like looking to live here."
Yeah.
It just came out like it was just. Oh, sorry. It was just natural thought that had no like foresight behind it. And he's like, "Well, I have a second place that I'm not using. My niece used to live there, but she moved away, and it's just sitting empty." So he's like, "You want to meet tomorrow at the music store? I can take you to it." I was like, "Okay." So we met the next day, and he took me to the music store. And the music store is gargantuous. It's like 3 floors. It's like a huge shopping mall style like layout. And I was like blown away. And he's like, "Okay," it's like, because Long McQuaid's pretty big. But this is not like this. That's like nothing. Yeah. So then we went to the place, and it was really nice, and it was a huge 1-bedroom. And he's like, "I'll charge you $3."
Yeah, the apartments in Montreal are ginormous.
Yeah, he's like, "I'll charge you $385."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay. No, I'm done. No problem. And I'm like, I moved in what?
How long did you live in Montreal for?
For 6 months.
6 months, okay.
Yeah.
Why only 6 months?
It was hard, like, to make money there.
Okay.
I didn't look for work. I had to get on welfare. Yeah. And I busked, so I had my rent covered and my expenses. I didn't have a lot of expenses because like rent is really cheap. Yeah. But I mean, that would be the whole other section. I ended up in the psych ward. Okay. For some time. That was like half of my Montreal stay. Okay. Was in the hospital because so the first night I moved in, like, I was all unpacked and whatever, and it was about like 3 a.m, and I was up still playing guitar, and I heard this voice. Like, it was like a combination of voices, but it was like a voice, like, unified, like, made up of other voices, and it told me to get out. And I was like, what? I'm like, no. Like, and it wasn't, because, you obviously hear when something's in your head, and when something's external. Yeah. And it was just like this feeling there with this voice, and I'm like, no. Right? So, like, after that, like, I started feeling there's this presence there that, like, and I was doing cocaine and smoking weed and not really sleeping. Yeah. And I would stay up and I was learning how to engineer then. So I would stay up and record. Yeah. And because I was smoking weed and I had like had this pipe that had, I guess the guy had used to smoke cocaine in.
Okay.
So I would use that to smoke my weed in. Okay. So instead of like, I didn't have cocaine, I had the residue of cocaine in this pipe.
Yeah.
So I was using that to smoke my weed. So I was getting like whatever was left of the cocaine for the length of time that he was using it. Yeah. So it was like, I don't need to sleep. I have this laser focus and I'm just going to record. So I recorded a whole album. But
really high treble.
Yeah, well, you know, it was like, so I was doing that, but at the time I also, there was this that entity was still there, and like the more I would not sleep and like indulge, the more I was vulnerable. And I started feeling like there was this thing there that wanted to teach me something. It was trying to show me like this, I felt like this higher intelligence that wanted, or like this, you know, higher power that wanted to show me something. So I kind of gave into it, and it was teaching me how to do these different weird rituals using like positioning of certain things that you would focus your energy and attention on to open up stuff from beyond here to give me what would you call it? I guess to give me like insight and like wisdom. Okay. But it led me to have psychosis.
Okay. So I
mean, that's a whole other topic.
I'm down to go down whatever road you want to go down. When it comes to the initial, you know, diagnosis of what you're feeling. I mean, initially you sounded like you were using it in a positive way almost, where had this laser focus and working on the album and stuff, right? Yeah. When did it start to turn for the worse?
Well, I started acting differently. I felt fine, but I wasn't like on the outside. Like my brother the guy became my business partner. He was gonna help me get my stuff out. Yeah. So I like took him on to be like my business partner. We didn't really do too much, but he rented an electric drum set for me. And he let me use. He had studio equipment there, so he let me use all his stuff. And but it's hard to fully explain because it's like I was there. But a lot of it is just like locked away, and like I can't explain what I was just behaving weird, like not myself. Like I would, I just felt like something like there's something there that was influencing me, like it like took over me in a sense. So I was like not really there. I was like kind of behind my own eyes, and not aware of like what I was doing, and they were worried about me, so they took me to the hospital. But like I had the police come in to my apartment, and like take me, because that's what they do, and you know they come and take you. Yeah. Either you go with them or they make you. Go with them. Yeah. So they did that. So I went with them, and then I stayed in the hospital. I remember they strapped me to a bed. Yeah. And they sedated me, and then I was out, and I remember I was in a room by myself, and it was freezing in a gown, and I had to go to the bathroom, and they wouldn't let me out, and I was yelling, like I literally felt like I was possessed. Wow. Like I was not, I don't know, there was something else there. Like I was moving the bed, like trying to be free, and I like just like pissed all over the bed. I'm like, you're not gonna let me leave, I'm gonna fucking piss all over the bed. But like it was like the easiest way I could explain it was like I was split from reality. Like, doing like essentially this entity that I was giving my attention to, I was leaving here to go to other places to essentially draw wisdom from. Whatever it was good or bad, I was most likely using me, and it wasn't good. But I was like, essentially, the easiest way to look at it is like I would leave and I'd go to a place where it was just color, and I would just eat the color essentially. Wow. And that would come back and utilize all that energy that I would take from this other place. And transform it into music. Right, so like I was split. So what I thought my reality was and what reality wasn't. But I mean, for me it was reality because that's where I was. But for people observing me on the outside, that's not what it was. That's not what it was. So like I believed like that I had all this wisdom and magic from this being, but it influenced me. Like so they said I was bipolar. Okay. And I had to stay in the hospital for a bit, and it was off. They gave me medicine to balance me, but I remember it just made me numb, and I don't know, it was a really weird time, like to try to. It's too bad I can't just like telepathically like share everything. No, you know what? I appreciate you sharing it in any way you can right now, and you know from there, from being there and you know recovering, leaving
What was that like for you?
Oh, it was tough because like they wouldn't let you leave unless you had a place, right?
Yeah.
So I couldn't stay at my business partner's place anymore.
Okay.
He didn't know me for a very long time.
Yeah.
So like this is obviously like a risk for now for him.
Yeah.
Because this is what it is. So they eventually when they put you in one ward until they observe you and feel like you can integrate into the other ward. So it's a smaller ward where they put everybody. Like I met a guy who tried to commit suicide by slitting his wrists with a table saw. Oh, yeah. So this guy had fucking his arms were just done, and he couldn't use his hands for the longest time. Like he was. Yeah. I met one guy that tried to kill himself jumping off a balcony, and he broke his back, and he was still alive, so he was there as well. Yeah. So I mean, it's like. Yeah, there's stuff going on in people but anyway, so like after eventually they moved me to like the large area where everybody is, and they kind of understand, okay, if you're Gen B, Gen C, whatever, they break it up into like different mental illnesses, so they can easily understand and like help you. They help you in what they know, medicine. And I don't know, I feel like if there was someone of another philosophy of life that was able to understand what I went through, because I didn't feel like I was dangerous. Yeah. I felt like I shattered my psyche. Okay. And I tapped into something that not a lot of people would even think they wouldn't even like something that crossed your mind, because there are a lot of things that make up the universe that we don't understand. Yeah. Like the fabric of negative space, the vibrations that we can't see that hold everything together. Absolutely. So it's like I could see everything and touch it and experience it all and utilize it for music. Wow. Like, so it's just like it's electricity, right? You just put your finger into an electrical socket. Yeah. So essentially what I did was put my finger in an electrical socket, and I shattered my psyche. So I had like met somebody who was like a shaman, like an actual shaman, like someone who studies things beyond Western medicine, that could help me understand what I was going through. Yeah. I felt like it would have been different. So I just wanted to harness something that normal people don't experience. That was the whole purpose of me giving into that entity. Yeah. But yeah, so I went off.
Continue, man. Yeah.
Eventually, like they'd give you some of your freedoms back. So first, like they had a smoking room, which was really cool. But they had certain times where they'd open the cabinet and they give you your cigarettes, they give you a snack, whatever, and then you could go smoke. And then eventually they trust you more, and they feel like, hey, you can make your own decisions. Yeah. So I had my cigarettes, and I rolled my own. So I had my tobacco and whatever, and then I was still not allowed outside. So eventually after that, they move you, and then you're allowed outside. They have a psychiatrist sign off that you're okay. They would talk to you, come every once a week and talk to you and say, okay, yeah, you're good to go outside, or you're not. You need more evaluation, whatever. I remember one guy I met. He told me I'm sick. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not sick. He's like, no, you're sick. I'm like, well, you're sick. I'm not sick. Like, why am I sick? Like, there's clearly things that are going on that you don't understand. That you rather just label me as this and give me drugs than to try to truly understand what's happening. Like, I know there is mental illness. I'm not saying that there isn't. No, absolutely. There are also things beyond our understanding that hold up the existence that we can't even comprehend. So I mean, like, it's so easy just to numb people, sedate people, and just drug them and label them, than to truly understand what's going on. Because a lot of things, come from either early trauma, they come from an experience that really breaks you. There's so many things that affect us, right? So absolutely. I know what caused that.
Well, straining your brain in that way, something that I can relate to on that would be being up for 3 days straight or whatnot. Yeah. And the way your brain perceives things, and that whole idea of like, no, you've gone nuts now. It's like, no, you just want to label everything as one easy sort of whatever, but not everything that comes from drugs and shit like that is necessarily a negative, right? Well, no. There's a whole lot of bad that can come from it, absolutely. But like, it seems as though your experience there, you were tapping into something that although it did have negative effects in the long run, there were moments though that you had this extra sort of tapping in ability that seemed pretty fucking interesting.
Well, yeah, I just went to somewhere else to utilize that energy from another plane to create. Right? Yeah. So like my intentions were good. What I was using the substance for, I felt, still not justifiable, but it depends who you ask. But I mean, like, exactly. I wasn't using it to escape any problems. I was looking to expand myself, my horizon. I was looking to discover more, because I know there's more here than we don't understand. Yeah. And people can reach those places. Yeah. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to my whole place of my whole point of doing these things was to discover more and essentially go on an adventure.
Okay.
You know?
I love that. I love it. Well, here, how about, since then, in regards to drugs, alcohol, do you still find yourself enjoying opening up your, brain to certain new ways of interacting with your music, whether it be through psychedelics and other forms of drugs, or have you taken a different path as you've gotten older?
Well, I mean, I haven't taken anything in about, 2.5 years.
Okay.
So, I mean, I smoked weed before, before 2.5 years ago. I would smoke on and off. But then I would smoke because when I come home from work, I was tired and I wanted to still be creative.
So a little bit of boost energy.
So it would.
Understand that. Yeah.
The only thing with that is it became a problem because I wouldn't be able to execute my creations. So I've had so much physical anxiety that I couldn't focus. I started an idea, couldn't finish it, and I couldn't physically get it out. It was like a queue of creations that were backed up, and I couldn't it was a hindrance. And then I would eat no tomorrow, and then I feel like crap and go to sleep. So it was like a cycle like that. Okay, look, I looked at myself, I'm like, this is not serving me. I smoke cigarettes and I drink coffee. I don't even really drink on the occasion. I don't even I've never been one to say let's go out to drink I like cocktails because I like creating things that of different flavors and complexity, right? So I mean, sometimes I'll have a cocktail if I'm out, when there were gigs,
and you can appreciate it for what it is or whatnot.
Yeah, so that was nice. That was a treat. But now I don't, because it doesn't serve me. I don't even like how alcohol makes me feel after a point. One drink is nice. Yeah. But after that, I feel disconnected from myself.
Well, I
know what I mean.
Yeah.
So now
I respect that. For sure.
Mm-hmm. Now I don't really have a desire to do anything. I feel like I'd fuck myself.
Well, you seem like you're a lot more tuned in to taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And the idea of, self-care and such. Do you have yourself daily routines or anything that you really like to stick to that as you've gotten older that you're more so about now rather than going out and partying?
Yeah. I mean, I never really had a going out and partying. I had a staying in and taking drugs.
Gotcha. Okay.
And being with my instruments.
Yeah.
I liked ketamine and MDMA. I liked acid.
I've been down those roads. Yeah.
I've taken amphetamines before. That was really good for focusing, but it's also very destructive.
Yeah.
And cocaine. But yeah, I mean, they all had their point and purpose in my life.
Okay.
And when it came to a point where it wasn't serving me, I stopped.
Yeah.
Because why? I mean, I know cigarettes are just very destructive, but they still serve me.
Well, that's very. That's something that I'd like to say that I definitely respect is the fact that you've gone down these roads and you've experienced these experiences you've had, and then come to the conclusion on your own that hey, this right here, it's not doing me any good, and that's why you want to stop it.
Yeah.
Not letting say an addiction or something like that take a hold of you. It seems as though you take a hold of it, see how it could serve you, and when it's done, it's done. You move on. Have you ever gone down the road of a straight edge sort of sobriety where you've gone off of all sorts of things? You're saying you do enjoy your coffee and cigarettes, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I've never said I'm gonna stop. I know people say it's hard to stop smoking cigarettes, but because I'm not looking.
It's not hard to start smoking cigarettes. They convince you that it's hard to stop smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
The biggest con done by the cigarette industry, by big tobacco, is to make you think that it's hard.
No, I think people say that it's hard. People who have stopped smoking say it.
But they think it's hard. It's quitting heroin or alcohol and stuff like that. That can kill you. That's hard to quit, okay? Cigarettes, it's like not eating.
Yeah.
Oh, you're hungry? Don't eat.
Oh yeah,
you want a cigarette?
Self-discipline. Yeah,
that's
for
it.
Sure. No, I know.
This is coming from someone who's had his ups and downs with quitting and not quitting and blah blah blah. We've gone for years, and then over the past I started smoking when I was 15, so it's been about over 20 years, and I got no right to say that I'm all mighty and over it. But once I let go of the idea that it's hard, now when I take my breaks, whether it be for months or years at a time, it's easy for me to transition into it. Yeah. Now when I go to smoke a cigarette, what's triggering the want for cigarettes is traveling, is habitual more so than the addictiveness to the nicotine or whatnot. Yeah. Let's kick it over.
Sorry, you were gonna say, do I have any routines
routines? Yeah. So do you have any routines?
I have simple ones. I mean, at night I prep all my stuff.
Okay.
So I have a nice smoothie in the morning, with berries and fruits and different other vegetables and stuff. So that's my breakfast, and I'll have have some cereal. I try to get good cereal, like a lot of less sugar, just like very very minimal ingredients, nothing like Kellogg's or whatever.
Gotcha.
Just because like I'm not hungry and I don't want to spend time making something. Like I don't eat eggs because eggs make me gassy and they don't sit well in my stomach.
Fair enough.
Like there's other things I could eat like buckwheat. That takes a long time. I mean, like usually for me, I don't want to spend a lot of time making food because I'd rather do other things like play music.
I hear that. That's why I do my meal prep. I prep all my food so that it comes out of a freezer. I cook it up in a sauce or I fry it up into this and that. Yeah. And I'm done. Yeah, exactly. And then like when I want to treat myself, then it's like, okay, let's have a whatever the hell. But the idea of cooking every single night, fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for me. I do that. I prep my stuff the night before, chop my vegetables or whatever, and then in the morning I would have my smoothie. Usually get up and shower because like I've slowly reintroduced stretching again because I haven't. I always push how long I can sleep. Because I work a lot and it's very taxing on my body. So my body wants rest. Yeah. And I don't give it enough rest. Yeah. So I mean, ideally, like I used to go to the gym 3 times a week and I would do yoga every day for an hour. Okay. Now I would now I like get up and I go shower so I can wake up, because if I don't shower right away or if I don't shower when I get up so I can start my day, I feel off. Like I feel disconnected from myself. I feel lack of energy. So I shower and like it's a simple element that you can connect with. So I find like it helps you connect to your body and clean you off and like wake you up. So like I really appreciate showering.
There we go. I love that.
That's like it's a simple thing that we just do.
No, I love
that. Like it's so helpful. Like
because a great showering experience is absolutely right. And the first thing in the morning, starting off with something like that where you just wash away and start fresh and clean. Yeah. There's a whole aspect to it that that mentally cleanses you as well, right? Yeah. I definitely got respect for that in regards to a strong shower routine.
Yeah, nice warm, like I can like really like be aware of my body again. Yeah. Like no, because even if I don't get enough sleep, like at least I have my shower and like I'm connected to my body. And like yes, I understand I'm tired, but I can still do it. Like if I get up and I don't have a shower and I would try to go start my day would be off all day. Wouldn't be my body. Like I feel it's so important to be in your body because you miss out on things that your body's trying to tell you, your intuition, and like just to be in fluidity with life if you're disconnected from your body. So do that and then like come out and brush my hair, and that takes some time because it knots really fast. But do that, and I put my water to boil for my coffee. So usually I even prep that like night before. I'll have my water for my coffee in my pot so I can just hit the oven, the coil heat up, and then do that, and my smoothies are ready. So I'll do my smoothie, I'll grind my coffee. It's really simple, and then I'll eat my cereal and drink my smoothie while I'm drying my hair. And now it's like, okay, I have to, like, what I would like to do is, because I'm not working these so many days and then I work, is to integrate my stretching and exercising again like I used to do. Like wake up and then stretch for like even 10 minutes. Yes. Just like something simple, and do like some push-ups and sit-ups and squats, and then take my shower. Yeah. And so like it's like I always wake up and be like, okay, I have to go. And like I usually give myself an hour and a half to 2 hours. 2 hours is comfortable. An hour and a half is like, as long as I do my routine and get everything ready, I'm good. An hour is like I gotta stress, and I hate stress. And the worst thing to do is we wake up is to start your day with stress.
Start your day with stress, man. Start your day by instead of starting your day by reacting, you want to start your day off by being rather than reactive, be proactive. Right. Yeah. That's one thing I really like. So instead of waking up in the morning, looking at your phone and seeing who you have to respond to, start your day by waking up and doing something. Pen to paper. Work on yourself. Meditate. Do something to be proactive with your life rather than reacting to everything around you and stressing out right away, right? Yeah. I don't like looking at my phone to wake up. But the only time I look at my phone to wake up is because I have an app called Alarmy. So like it's what I like about it is because you can set different functions on it to allow you to switch it off, or it won't switch off. You can't access your screen. So the one I have is math problems. So it does different things, like you can shake it a certain amount of times. So you can take a picture the night before you set it, or whenever you set it, and you have to take the same picture. So that could be pretty frustrating if you're half asleep. Oh, that's interesting.
I do math problems. They're not hard. They're like double-digit addition. Yeah. But it's like when you're half asleep, doing double-digit addition, like with one eye open, it becomes a lot more complicated than you think. Okay. So I do 6 of those, and you can set how many. You can set the difficulty. So like whatever. It's just like a little exercise for my brain. Yeah. Something that will like spark my brain, even like when I'm half asleep. Okay. I don't need anything too complex, because then like I've done like even harder ones, and when you're half asleep and it gets frustrating because I mean So I do some little something simple for my brain to.
Okay, so you start your day off in a proactive way with that, right?
Yeah, and then that's it. Then I put my phone down, and like I'll go do everything. Cause like I know some people sit in bed and they look at their phone, and
I'm guilty of it from time to time.
I've done that. It's hard.
It is.
But it sucks. It sucks your energy, and it sucks your focus, and then you're in your phone for 2 hours. And it's like I was supposed to do this and this and this.
You got it, man. Well, you know what? Here, let's.
How about you? Well, sorry. How was your morning exercise?
My morning routine, same, man. I really love you. The first person I had over who also rocks the yoga. I got a bunch of yoga videos that I got from a buddy for DDP yoga. Okay. So it's not like full on legit yoga sort of thing. It's its own version of it, more calisthenics or whatnot, right? But took a bunch of those, made a bunch of smaller clips, 20-minute videos I'm working on, and I'll try to get one of those in. My brother and I and a friend, we work out every day. Well, we work out, pretty much every day. That way, on a day when you can't work out, you don't have to feel guilty about it. Yeah. You work out every day, and life happens. Well, life happens. Take a day off. But being on a regiment and scheduling stuff, I really like. But that idea, like you said, to start off your day with those with a question, something to get your brain working, something to get your brain firing. I like that. Go full circle with mental health. Still keep that going to where you are today. Where you're at today, how are you feeling with your current state of mind? Do you find yourself, spending time trying to meditate or work on your mental state, or is it you finding that this time that you have, because you're working so often, that just kind of go?
I haven't meditated as much as I used to. I did devote more of my time at a different period in my life to more spirituality. I'm still spiritual. Like I don't neglect the aspects of spirituality. Okay. Like I understand that the more you practice this, your skills, the more you're able to attain. And like I find that it's poor to make excuses for why you don't do things, and it's so I mean, creating good habits are tricky. You stick with them. Once you stick with them, are very rewarding, and it takes a bit of time. So I mean, I haven't like, I mean, I could be a lot better with how I structure out my day. So my plan is, because Halloween's gonna be very busy, and I put a lot of my time into these bars for because I enjoy them, and but it takes away from my own life. Okay. So like after Halloween, my plan is to work one day less. Just work 3 days a week.
There we go.
I can still work more hours. There we go. And I'm still good with what I need. Nice. But my plan. I'm not happy with how I'm living my life.
Okay. So
I want more structure. I want to wake up again and like do my exercises and stretch, and then do things, and then like allocate time for my day, like even more disciplined, because it's a waste of time. Like you realize like it's time goes by so quickly, and like you can do a lot. So like I feel like I've been neglecting my self-discipline. Okay. Like I want to exercise more. So even like last night, I brought my bike out again, like my indoor bike, because I haven't touched that in like months. And so I just put the new Borat movie. I didn't watch all of it, but I put that on and I biked.
I've already watched it twice.
I biked through like the movie. Like I didn't finish it. I got to where he was like at that rally or the protest. Okay, like he's singing on stage. So I went to there. So like I biked through that. So I'm trying to integrate my exercises again, because I've been neglecting my music because of work, and like then I go to play drums and I realize how out of tune with my with the subtle abilities that you need are, and like I'm lacking because I'm not exercising enough. So it's like I need to reset myself. I'm not happy. I want to reset. So going back to the spirituality, like it's like again with that, even like taking 10 minutes to just looking within myself, like making like again, because that ties into like making tough decisions, like moving. Yeah. And it's like I have somebody that's worried and stressed about what's going on. And I'm not too stressed and worried because you don't really see that much happening here. But also then you see what's happening in other countries because they fight. Because we're kind of like sedated here. Yeah. Or we are, not kind of. Like we're getting money. Yeah. And so it's okay. There's no reasons. We're over there, their things are just taken away. Their jobs and their opportunities are taken away. Yeah. And they're fighting. And they're like, here, who's fighting? There's some people that are fighting. So it's like, I haven't been so out of tune with myself to look in and say, what do I want? And like I go in and it's in disharmony because I haven't spent time, sit and meditate. So I haven't done that, and it sucks because like it's easier to deal with day-to-day things when you take time for yourself to reflect inwards and understand what's going on, and it allows you to be less reactive. It allows you to not allow things to sit on you too long. You know, so it's.
Well, you know what? I like that you're able to at least see it for what it is and realize that you need to take that time. You know, a lot of people make excuses for why they can't, whereas for you seem to be more so along the lines of, you know, making the actual movements to change that for yourself, right?
Well, it's hard to make change. Change, it's like you get comfortable, right?
Oh yeah. Well, let's talk spirituality. Growing up, were you raised religious? Was the household, being from an Italian family, did you have a lot of, like, you know, did you go to church and such?
Oh, yeah. I was an altar server.
Okay. So tell me about your spiritual journey from childhood to here.
I mean, like, in terms of Catholicism, I didn't really feel connected to it. Like, I felt like I was just there because I had to be there.
Yeah.
I never felt like this is where I belong. I didn't feel called. I just felt like I'm supposed to be here, and like I did it because my mom did it, and it's like.
How long did you do it for?
Well, I was altar server from like maybe like 12 till I moved to Brampton. So, not 12, younger than that. Till I was about 12. So maybe like 4 years or so.
Okay. So, you know, having that as part of your youth, you know, I realized that it wasn't for you, and kind of moving forward from there, when did you really discover your own spirituality afterwards?
When I started smoking weed.
Okay.
Because I started looking at myself differently, and I started looking at the world differently, and how things are perceived and my actions, and I stopped and I was like, well, there's more to me and everybody else than what I understand.
Yeah.
And so like how do I understand more? How do I get like it just like I just would just think, how do I get closer to where we come from? How do I get closer to the things that I don't understand?
How do you open your mind?
Yeah. So I would spend a lot of time. Well, music allowed me to be. I felt like music and spirituality, I feel, for me, are very connected.
Very hand in hand.
Yeah,
for you, right?
because like it comes from a place that is not of here. It is not man-made.
Yeah.
It is higher nature. So that's why like I'd say my spirituality is connected with music. So when I play and when I create, it's not me that essentially creating some, you know, in the way I'm speaking.
You're channeling something.
It's not mine, and it's not mine to be possessive. It's like allowed. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to explain.
No, you're trying to put into words, and
it's hard.
I'm here just, you know, really appreciative of you sharing it this way, because that idea of music, it isn't yours. That idea of what you're saying, where, you know, you're channeling this music, this ability to convey this form of, you know, art and express yourself. I like that. I like that idea. That, like, you know, it's not just yours. It's everything around you. You're giving it back, but you're also receiving it from there too. Yeah. That's what I'm taking from what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, because essentially, I feel its purpose is to help people, to heal people, to connect people.
Okay.
That's why it's not mine and it's not anybody's, because like we don't even own ourselves in a sense. Like if you look at, I don't know, do you want to talk about like body? We don't own our body.
I absolutely do want to talk about this. Let's go. So, you know, let's talk about the idea of your spirituality, your vessel.
Yeah.
How do you want to put it? Let me let you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I figure like
take the reins on this.
The ego decides this is mine. The ego is possessive. So the ego is a construct of the mind and the conditioning and the way the society's developed and the way that we've gone from expanding our consciousness as we evolve. So I don't feel like this is mine. This is not. I don't feel any of this is anybody's. I feel like this is everybody's to share for a brief period of time until you are no longer in need of it. But like at the end of the day, we get so possessive of things because we are afraid, because the ego feels that fear is the easiest way to control us. So like for me to say, oh, I need these shoes, so I feel content with myself. But like shoes aren't the most important thing. Like I know whatever, we have shoes to protect our feet. Way back we didn't need shoes. We developed a society where we're creating shoes to protect our feet. So I guess that's another topic, and I haven't studied feet, so I don't know. But I mean, I don't feel like any of this.
Well, what do you feel about death? How do you feel about the idea of when you are, you know, done this with this vessel in this space that we share? What do you feel the next step is?
I don't know. I mean, like I mean, who knows? If I'm gonna take it from what do I feel about death, I feel death is natural. Okay. Like I've experienced death since I was very little. Yes. So like my approach to death is is of peace. Like I'm not afraid of dying. I know what people are afraid of suffering. That's a different thing. But suffering is also temporary, and suffering is also necessary to allow us to have perspective. So I mean, I don't like suffering, but I mean, everybody suffers to a certain degree every day. Yeah. So I'm at peace with the fact that I will die, and when I die, I die. It's in my time. That's okay. I feel if I were to hypothesize, or I guess my philosophy on what happens when you die.
Yeah. Do you have anything that you lean towards? Yeah. Do you believe in reincarnation? Do you believe in heaven and hell as you were raised? What do you lean towards?
Well, I mean, the Catholic Church pushes that based on fear and fear and reward.
Yes.
So fear. Right. So that you are not in the present, because you are always doing something so you don't go somewhere, so you're not punished. Or if you live a certain way, you're rewarded. But that also separates you from the present. So I mean, I don't necessarily agree with any of that. I feel that people could have hell on earth. I feel you can have that. You can have paradise here too.
Yep.
So
life's what you make it.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel that because on a fundamental level, and everything is constructive of some kind of energetic expression, that when I leave here, my body, decomposes, and I feel like the energetic compound of my soul would just be dispersed on wherever it's necessary to balance out things that need to be balanced.
Wow.
Whether if you look at like the belief of reincarnation, why people come back, it's like, why are we here? Essentially, we're here to learn. We're here to develop and grow and essentially balance things out, like balance out a fundamental scale of energy. So if I were to die, when I do die, if my energetic self needs some sort of correction or
hold on a second. It just okay, I don't know where that crapped out of. This is part of what will be the demo tapes or first rounds of whatnot, and these little hiccups I will get better at not letting happen.
Some things you can't control.
Fair, but we were just in a great space. I wrote it down quickly. We were ending with I don't know where it may have cut off, but what we were talking about is when your time comes where your energy needs to be dispersed. You're okay with that. I love that. That is beautiful. I hope we got the rest of that there. If not,
we have the audio.
We got the audio, exactly. Got the audio. You know what? No matter what, if we don't have it there, the audio will be there. Yeah. You will have already heard the audio.
You can just put a picture up.
All right, on to something else. Growing up as a kid, did you have that sort of, wondering what's out there?
Oh, yeah. I'd never thought that we're the only ones here. How could we be the only ones here?
Exactly. Well, the way we were talking about spirituality and the idea of your soul, and the energy going spaces, right? When you think about the space that's outside of this world, where does your mind go?
Well, I mean, this is so vast. And if you look at what constitutes life, so we have this perspective. We have singular density consciousness, like minerals, and you have second density consciousness, like plants, and you have in between plants and animals and us, it gets third dimensional conscious human beings. Yeah. So I don't feel like we could be the only ones. If you figure that's really egotistical to think that we're the only ones here. Yeah. It doesn't have to be here, because if the fact is that they don't even need it doesn't need a planet. An existence could be between dimensional space. So who knows? That's
really not to stop the talk of what's out there, but you touched on that idea of interdimensional rather than possibly out in space. Yeah. Is this something that you've thought about more recently? Because I find that that's something that's been more recent for me, and the more I talk about people, there's more people who do feel that way, that perhaps these aliens or whatnot, these other life forms that perhaps we've interacted with and this and that they're not from necessarily space, that it could be more interdimensional in that idea. Yeah. And that really tickles my sci-fi pickle for sure.
No, I've felt that way for some time. I mean, if you look at people that have supernatural encounters with things. Yes. Where I was watching a show on Netflix called Unsolved Mysteries, and there was a landslide and then a tsunami following that landslide in a northern, I don't remember the name of the province, northern province of Japan. Okay. It annihilated a lot of people. And there were experiences after that with people that were survived of encounters with I guess, spirits that were lingering. There was even one lady who said that she was driving down a road and she met this group of boys, and she knew that they weren't there. Like, you could tell, like, they weren't physical. Yeah. But she could see them, and they saw her, and they're like, we're lost. Like, we don't know how to go home.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, like, I feel like things like that, energy gets stuck. Yeah. So it takes a physical personification, because that's that's what it's burned into it. Like, that's what it understood before it was in that transitional state. So it could be, you could even think about, like, maybe it's in a different galaxy on a planet, but there's ways to interdimensional travel between planets. Like, who knows? Like, I do feel like there's things in between dimensions that we can't understand.
When you're talking about energy and the idea of interdimensional, or whether it be, the imprint that's left by these, life forces or whatnot, have you ever considered or ever dabbled with tapping in to these, possible forces?
Oh, I did when I was that time that I had psychosis.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, so there we go.
I acknowledged that something was there because it didn't want me there.
Yeah. Okay.
For whatever reason, and I told it no. So
now, since those experiences and having that, did you ever go down the road of doing anything in regards to the occult? Did you ever look into, because you had those experiences, did you ever think about wanting to, have those experiences again? Did you ever look into wanting to tap into contacting spirits, or looking into things like the dark arts or magic in general?
Oh, yeah. Before that, I did definitely. Like, before that experience, for, like, I'd say from when I was like 24, no, even maybe 20, 21 to like 26, I was interested in magic and understanding beyond what I did. And I believed that there was a lot of possibility to tune into things like that, but my method was mostly psychedelics. Okay. And it's pretty much like trying to shape my own reality, but like contacting things, I was not so drawn to a lot. I mean, because I do know that there are grave repercussions. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I like the aspect of using psychedelics to do things within my reality. So like, let's say I would take ketamine, and I could alter my perception of what I would see. So like, one thing would be I would focus on green energy, and I could make it swirl around me. Okay. So I would do things like that where I could manipulate my reality. Yeah. But you can't influence other people's reality. Okay. But that was fine with that, because I didn't want that. I just wanted to create something beyond what I would normally live in. So do things like that, or I would take high doses of MDMA past the point where I had no more serotonin, and I would start getting into the psychedelic aspect of it, the dangerous aspect of it, but where I would be able to offset my focus and start creating things within negative space. Like one time it was a tiger came down from the sky and was maybe like 10 feet, stood above me, and just like in vibrational constitution. So things like that, but like I didn't want to seek anything out, because I didn't want something to influence my life, and it did when I did, but I discovered it. So I know there are people that are super interested in connecting things, and I don't want something draining my life or using me as a host or anything like that. But I'm really fascinated when other people share their experiences with things like that.
Well, through the experiences that you've had, we've been through. We first saying thank you for sharing, everything today, and through your experiences to where you are today. Why do you think we're doing what we're doing here? Why are you doing what you're doing here? What's this purpose of this life for you?
For me, it's pretty simple. I mean, just to share love. All right. I mean, in the simplest, easy form, but then, you can dissect that, or you can expand on it however you want. Like, well, what is love? Love could be many things. I find like my purpose of being here to express that love would be through art. That usually leaves me on a very hermit path, because like I said, we touched on before, people take up a lot of your time. But other people maybe feel like love is shared through connection and spending time with each other. So I mean, like, depends. Like, but yeah, I feel like for me is to learn whatever I need to learn, so I be able to share that love through music and art. Yeah, that's it, really.
Well, you know what? That's beautifully put.
How about you? What do you feel like your
your
purpose of being here is?
You know, we're all done for time there, ladies and gentlemen.
You're gonna leave off on
you
that.
know what, man? Jacob, thank you. Thank you for sharing everything today. Thank you for coming back.
Yeah.
If you're not living in Poland, I hope to be able to get you back in here again. It's been great both times. Thank you, man.
You're welcome. Thank
Cheers,
you
buddy.
for having me.
Thank you. All right, rocking it.
You don't want to answer, You don't want to answer what your purpose was?
My purpose, you know what? I think over the past few years, the difference of trying not to concentrate on where I thought I should be by a certain age, and being more open to not knowing what that purpose might be, right? So with what I'm doing here with like this podcast, for example, instead of like doing with the intentions of wanting to it's like I have positive intentions for it, but is it my purpose to do this to interview people? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, to be quite honest, it's very uncomfortable at first. It's fun, but it's also like it's telling myself that the excitement that I feel is, you know, the nervousness I feel, the anxiety. If you tell yourself that nervousness, that anxiety is actually, you know, fucking excitement rather than a bad thing, it helps you get over it, right? But right now, what you said there and the idea of spreading love is exactly it. And I feel as though what I'm doing here, what I'm doing with, like, you know, working out and having friends over, what I'm doing with, you know, music and stuff like that, and getting people into that garage and into that studio there, the idea of working with my brother and being here with my family and talking with friends who I haven't seen in ages. Yeah, spreading the love is something that people say they do or they want to do and don't. But I really feel as though that's what I'm kind of concentrating on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was recording the whole time, so I guess maybe I'll put this in as some sort of secret thing at the end as well. All right. Thank you.